Hi again, Angie DeClaudio here. Just so you have some context to my response, I oversee a service office with 8 direct reports and 10 to 12 dotted line reports. I took this assessment keeping the entire team in mind, but some of my responses may focus on either my direct reports, the dotted line reports, or the entire team. Regarding new insights I have about my team's effectiveness, I am the quintessential glass half full person. When I saw the results of my assessment and weighed that with my personal perceptions, I thought there may be a bit of a disconnect with how I perceive things to how members of my team might perceive them, especially the manager who directly oversees my dotted line reports, who tends to balance my optimism with some scrutiny. He is ultimately not a negative person, but a bit less hopeful than I might be when navigating change. At the end of the day, I think we make a good team, though. Here are the results of my assessment. Problem solving scored a 13, which is kind of in the middle of moderate efficiency for this level. I think the question about removing all emotion out of the workplace is where I found the most disagreement. I think emotions properly managed are a very important part of the workplace, especially in service-oriented positions. You have to be able to empathize with your customer, which means you need to be able to tap into your emotions, but not let them consume your reactions. Idea management scored highest at 19. I am a big proponent of creating an engaged workplace, and idea management seems to encapsulate the core competencies that kind of result in an engaged workplace, like collaboration, democratic leadership, and the understanding that our work impacts others beyond our department. Ultimately, I feel that our entire team has a unified purpose of providing good service, so each key area or team is committed to aligning their particular functions with this goal in mind. Innovation process scored a 15. I view this section as being all about empowering people to do good work. I think I would have assessed this area higher, except for the fact that I still see employees on occasion who fall into the "tell me what you want me to do and I'll do it" mantra. I try to be cognizant of when this mentality creeps into our workplace, because I never want people to feel like they don't have ownership of the work they do. I believe it happens most when we're in crisis times, or when we haven't seen success or progress in certain initiatives, kind of resulting in the wind being taken out of our sails. Regarding how each group factor aligns or misaligns with my team's effectiveness, I think in regards to purpose, as a service department, and as previously mentioned, I do think my team as a whole aligns well here. Regardless of how one may feel about the task at hand, our service philosophy of serving with care is consistently applied. CARE stands for choose joy, actively listen, resolve the issue, and exceed expectations. This helps bring perspective to the work that we do. As far as leadership goes, I truly believe I work in a primarily Y versus X environment. A certain measure of X is needed when it comes to creating a structure so that enforcing policy and providing consistency in service is attainable. But in application, staff members are given the freedom to own the work they do. I often tell staff that our work requires judgment and application of policy. That may look different based on each individual situation. As long as they have considered the policies and can support how they arrived at their decision, managers can support them even if mistakes are made. I would consider membership as one of our strongest factors in some ways, and one of the areas we could probably improve upon the most at the same time. My office was created about 5 years ago as a result of merging 3 different work areas into one service department. And according to our organizational change facilitator, we were gearing up for some attrition in the first year due to what might be unhappy employees with such a significant change. And this never really came to fruition. And after almost 5 years, though we have seen attrition, it has been kind of natural attrition due to relocations or retirements or new opportunities versus dissatisfaction. We do try to identify if that is part of the reason somebody leaves, and based on how truthful they are, that might be different. But with that said, there are probably people in their jobs who shouldn't be. But the deeply embedded culture of the organization I work for doesn't like to advise folks out of their jobs per se either. So we try to work with everybody who is in their current role. This brings us to norms, which I feel are oftentimes culturally defined. Communication is an interesting one. Having worked in secular organizations most of my almost 30-year career, moving into a Christian organization, I found that the greatest challenge was honest and direct communication and granting each other grace, oddly enough. It's been an interesting dance to navigate. Reviewing the section on conflict management was a great reminder that not all conflict is bad. In fact, I'm currently experiencing this with my direct reports, as several staff members have expressed concern over another staff member that they feel is not effectively applying policy and problem solving, and that this is adversely affecting not only the team, but our customers' perceptions of our competence. So at the end of the day, this probably is one of those good conflicts, because it shows that we have people who are deeply engaged in the work they do. I mentioned problem solving earlier, so I'll move on to decision making. Regarding decision making, as a manager who does not do the work that my team does, and I would be sorely deficient at it, actually, I frequently default to those who do the work to help navigate through change decisions. My role is to facilitate efficiencies and ensure quality service, but I do that with direct feedback from those who are actually doing the work. And one item that I think I can influence to make my team more effective at this moment is around structure and roles. I feel like I need to go back to the basics. When I read through that area, the concept of structure and roles hit home with me, because sometimes we get into a work groove and we forget to recognize or analyze what might be keeping us from achieving our goals. For me personally, I am in so many meetings that I oftentimes cannot keep straight what happened, where, and with who, and I find that on occasion key partners have not received adequate communication about projects or status updates. Perhaps something as simple as designating a note taker in meetings, like try running a meeting and taking your own notes, it's craziness. Or identifying a discussion leader or group facilitator can help align and maximize resources. From my end, this means identifying my team's strengths and utilizing them differently to impact the greater good versus just the position they're assigned to support. So anyway, that's what I've got. Thanks, and see you next time.